On Sunday, Central Park will be a sea of pink. Thousands of New Yorkers and people from all over will gather for the annual Susan G. Komen Greater New York City Race for the Cure. Breast cancer survivors, their families, their friends, their supporters, their co-workers, people they don't know, there to support will be walking and racing to end breast cancer. This is quite an event. Each year, it raises millions of dollars to provide life-saving support to underserved New Yorkers, also to raise money for medical research. A woman's lifetime risk of getting breast cancer is 1 in 8, or 12.8%, and the risk goes up as a woman ages. Joining us now is Linda Tantawi, CEO of Susan G. Komen, Greater NYC, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I sort of mark my calendar now. Wear pink, wear pink.
Thank you.
So good to see you.
Good to see you.
Every year, why do we have this race?
We race to celebrate life, and we really race to encourage breast cancer patients, survivors, women with stage 4 disease, and importantly also their friends and family. It's quite a journey. And to undergo breast cancer and then to be alive and survive, you really need that community, that support. And we're there to raise money we need for research, money we put right back in the community. As you know, Dana, we are so committed to reducing disparities in access to care, and that's why this race is so important.
When we're talking about the disparities, well, here, first of all, Linda, here's some great pictures. We've had all kinds of weather.
Last year was a debacle. We're so glad that John's bringing the good weather on Sunday.
Didn't keep people away, but
No,
it wasn't easy. You also have it in different, if you run, you're sort of fast runner, walker, it's all divided up nicely.
Yeah.
But people are so committed to this, and as you're speaking about disparities, be a little more specific on that as we talk about underserved communities and what they're not getting and getting as far as treatment information.
So we know that women, the African-American women diagnosed with breast cancer, who get breast cancer, die at a rate 40% higher than white women. And that's unacceptable. So we know that we need to get mobile mammography into these communities. But then our mammography rates in New York City are pretty high. What happens afterward is what the issue becomes.
Okay.
So it's time, if it's a finding, how long does it take that woman to get to her diagnostic appointment? Is that taking too long? Does she never go? Does she fall off the radar? Or then if there is a diagnosis, how long for her to get to her treatment plan? Then that can also be, does she ever get treatment? Does she decide not to be treated? Or she doesn't have a babysitter, doesn't have transportation, she has to take care of her family. So many obstacles that get in the way.
Afraid, Linda.
And she's, of course,
she's nervous.
Afraid. Yes.
So what does Komen do to help her get through that process?
We ensure that there are patient navigators at different city hospitals to ensure that, you know, for example, Mrs. Smith, you have a suspicious mammogram. Let me schedule your follow-up. And then Mrs. Smith, your appointment is the next day, making sure she gets to that appointment. And a diagnosis is complicated. You have your surgeon, you have your plastic surgeon, you have your oncologist, your radiation oncologist. It's a lot to put together. And then there are the after effects of treatment. We know that women who have ER-positive disease have to take drugs that, if you're young, put you in early menopause. They're a tough drug. And so patient navigators can also ensure that women are feeling supported. Even after they're through, they're still not through.
It's important also to talk about the success stories. Now, my mom was diagnosed with postmenopausal cancer 30 years ago. She's doing great. I remember, though, sitting through all of that because it does take the village of the family. The hair loss, the sickness, the treatments have gotten better, have they not? And I mean, we've seen people living longer.
Well, one of the biggest developments, even just since last year, is the Taylor-X study. And that was partially funded by Susan G. Komen. And that study showed that about 70% of women with called ER-positive disease, early stage, no longer need chemotherapy.
Wow.
So that's a test that your physician performs, and it's called the Oncotype Dx Test, and it's amazing. Can you imagine? Maybe your mother wouldn't have lost her hair, wouldn't have had the nausea associated with chemo. Phenomenal progress, and we are making progress. And there are a lot more new treatments, much more targeted therapies that are really pinpointing the woman's particular type of breast cancer.
But the woman has to be in there owning her
Yes.
own, you know, her path to make sure she's okay.
Self-advocacy.
Her family's okay. Let's talk about
Yes.
Sunday.
Yes.
The time. What, if people still want to get involved.
So registration opens at 7 a.m. You can come to Central Park West and 73rd Street, and we'll have plenty of volunteers out in force to help you register if you haven't registered. If you need to pick up your T-shirt and bib, pick everything up there. We do have a timed option this year also.
Okay.
So if you want to run the race with a time, you can purchase a chipped bib at the
that's
on
nice.
site if you don't already have one. And we ask that time runners are at the start line by no later than 8:45. We have our opening ceremony at 8:45, which Mary Calvi will be emceeing for
on
us,
TV,
which we're really
and right here.
thrilled about. And then we'll have the survivors in front and a big celebration. We have some honorees this year. Renee Seaman, who's a stage 4 cancer patient, will be getting the Eliza Adams Thriver of the Year Award. Dr. Francisco Esteva from NYU will be getting our One Race, One Mission Physician of Impact Award.
That's really good.
It's going to be a terrific morning.
It is emotional, too. You see moms with their babies strapped with them, and people have all these great names, you know.
For the teams, yes.
For the teams. Some of them we can't say right here, but the inspiration is fantastic.
It's a great day.
The momentum, and good luck on raising millions and millions.
Thank you so much for all you do for us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So proud.